I had a little panic attack halfway through this afternoon thinking, we've got all these people here and we haven't created a space to collectively talk through next steps. And I tore around trying to get things sorted, and you might have seen me looking a bit stressed and waiting to talk to Mark when things had already started. Anyway, I calmed down, and lovely Margaret Jeffries gave me this heart to remind me that it is all about the heart, and that got me through my moment. And we did end up having a session in the room over there with probably about a dozen people talking through what's next, because the CED Trust, it's fledgling, it's tiny, 3 trustees and me on 3 days a week, no resource, no money past April apart from whatever surplus comes in for this conference. So, it's bare bones at the moment. I don't expect it to be bare bones in the future. I think we've developed some real momentum at this conference, and we've got some potential financial partners and investors who have been in the room who will see the value of the work, and I'm confident that we will start to get some support for it. And I also have had so many offers from people around the room. I'll do this. Hey, I'm a student. I'll do this bit of research. David Clendon has said, hey, we'll offer you parliamentary, Green MP, parliamentary services research to do a bit of research. So there's a lot of offers coming in terms of how we go forwards in the future. I think that the thing that came out of our little session in there was, how do we grow it in a way where it's not top-heavy and centralised, and that we are actually role modelling localism and decentralisation, and that it's led from the grassroots, but there does need to be something that holds it and serves it in the middle. So that's a challenge, as it is in all of our work, but I think that's where there is to go. Just a couple more things. In each workshop, we did design them so that the note takers recorded next steps and research needs. So post-conference, we're going to collate all of that, and we're going to put it up on the website for starters. Somebody in our session put up their hand to say, I'll help you with the web-based stuff so that we can start having these conversations online. So we don't actually have to be face-to-face to have them. So want to get that cracking as soon as possible. It was very interesting. We could have sold our masterclass over about 3 times. So there's obviously a need for that kind of real targeted, one-day, in-depth, how do you do this stuff? So I think that's something we need to look at doing, not just in Auckland, but possibly around the country. And this is all resources allowing, of course. I'm not making promises here. It depends what our capacity is. I think there's some legislation there that is getting in our way, and I think we need to get our heads together and figure out what that is, and start to make some very clear recommendations to government in terms of the kind of changes that we do need. And we need to keep it simple, not hit them with too much at once, and kind of find a way of how do we educate our government in this agenda. Because there's a few people who do it, and I'm just looking at Peter Dixon over here. There's some brave souls from government in the room who have come here and have been here to be part of the conversation, and I really take my hat off to all of the government people who did. But there's, they're just a tiny, tiny piece of the whole machine, and we need to target both at officer level and at political level. So it's another fairly big piece of work. So that's where there is to go, really. Tina wanted me specifically to mention after Easter, we're taking down Hugh and Lindsay down to Wellington, and the Federation, who are now social development partners, have set up a series of appointments down there, but also a session. Tina, when is it? Thursday morning after Easter. So if you want to know about that, get in touch with Tina and Social Development Partners, and they'll tell you the where and the what and the how. A bit of a gathering in Wellington to discuss this whole agenda. So I think that's probably it in terms of next steps. And I think we've done most of the thanking. I did some personal thanking last night because there's been such a magnificent team. One of the things I said at dinner, for those of you who weren't there, is that most of the time I've actually just been here to enjoy. This amazing team has just picked it up, run with it, seen where the gaps were, dealt with it, and most of the time it hasn't kind of come to me, and that's been incredibly useful for me just to be able to be in the content and be in the conversation. So, you know, thank you, all the team. You all know who you are, and you're all absolutely wonderful. All the speakers are absolutely fantastic, overseas and local. Of course, we love our sponsors, and thank you so much for fronting up. The Auckland Council, I don't know that we've really mentioned that much, but they did make a significant financial contribution towards organising costs, and we were very, very grateful for that. And you delegates, you're what it's all about, so thank you so very much for coming. But there's one person who we haven't acknowledged yet, and he's an absolute star, and that is our wonderful MC. So, Mark. There's just a little token that Pat has there of our appreciation of who you are, what you do, how you broker all that stuff in the council, and how you just hold these events with such humour and light touch and grace and depth.
It's suggested I open it.
All eyes on Mark.
Oh, yeah. One piece at a time. It's not as fragile as it looks. Local art.
I have to say we got all our gifts from our local social enterprise, Corbyn's Arts Centre. So, local social enterprise, recycling, all good.